Margaret and Windsor, and I was kidnapped in 41 and brought to Moulton, Alabama, and given the name of a twin, Peggy Ann Dempsey. I married a Childers. I have done so many tapes, and over the last going on 2 years now, year and a half, and all this has been put on the background on it. If I put background on this tape, it won't get to the point I'm trying to make at the moment. These are just shoes I'm showing that I didn't have shoes back then. I was shut down and literally had antifreeze put in me April Fool Day of 80, and I had nothing. I was on the side of the road, and that's a backpack. I didn't have any of this gear. I froze. I starved. I had every law in the book broken, ongoing. And I did a book, Medical Malpractice book, MD, A License to Kill. Had a letter from the FBI. I will go ahead and say this, June the 23rd of 79. And in it, they said ongoing investigation, national security involved. So real quick, I found out in 83, I was doing a book, Medical Malpractice book, on mind control murders that were done in patterns. And I thought all this was happening to me and my sons, Mark and Scott, because of the book and the connections to Congressman Dr. Larry McDonald of Piedmont Hospital. And I'll just say this, later I was flown out to Flint, and there was other murders there in connections to Emory and a lot of cases. And Jonas Robricher was a doctor of psychiatry and law at Emory University. And he had books by Lippincott, and the last one he published, I had never met the man. He's one of the few honest men and doctors, and he got killed. They said it was natural cause. It wasn't. It was 1981, after the last book of his that I'm aware of was published, The Power of Psychiatry. And he listed 10 of my cases in the very last chapter. He didn't use my name, but he listed them, and he was friends of my attorney, Eugene Kaiser, a former Fulton County DA, so I'll leave it at that. My point is that Larry Flint, that was a mind control murder that I'd written about. Now I wanted to get to, I was kidnapped from Buckingham Palace and brought to this family that she killed her twins. They were born out of wedlock, and this was a glossed over picture. That's me, and this is the double that married Wallace Simpson. She never married, my father never married her, Edward VIII. I found out about my kidnapping in 83, late 83, and the Brits told me. That's my Aunt Georgia O'Keefe, and my father was married to Claudia Ruth O'Keefe. Now I want to get to this, so that makes her illegal. And this man helped in the takedown of my father, the illegal, and put a 99-year seal on the crimes. How's that? Anyway, that's George, the 6th illegal. What I wanted to say, I wanted to get back to, there was an addendum, so this has threads throughout it. There was an addendum to my father's forced illegal abdication, and in it, I was born in 39, and it made sure that people knew I was Victoria II, that none of this disinherited me, and it is legal, except there's a seal on it, 99-year seal, just like on my father's illegal forced takedown. And he wasn't even married to Wallace Simpson. And so I want to make this point, because maybe one day it'll be told, I hope I'm still alive. They're talking about the movie in Selma, Alabama. Well, they took me to Moulton. Who do you think's ransom money and all of it in all forms created the Space Center, NASA, at Huntsville? But Selma, I haven't had any civil rights. I've had one. You talk about terrorism right in plain sight. It's been woven every day of my life to me and my sons, my father and mother, who never got me back. Everything stolen from them. And the United States used illegal treaties signed by my Uncle George and Elizabeth to put the military bases all over Great Britain and use it to launch for global control and power, and that's what they've done. That's where they are now. They're the Illuminati, the Jews that helped kidnap me, and the Kennedy clan. He was ambassador. Now I'm giving background again, and I want to get to this. There was an addendum to my divorce. I found out later that John Childers, he died supposedly, and I'm going to say supposedly in '83. He was CIA, I found out later. Now then, I want to go back to the book, and Larry Flint was shot while I was doing the book. I moved into Laurelwood, and I signed a lease, my deposit. So much was happening there at Laurelwood and Marietta that someone suggested my ex-husband come back. I thought he was a truck driver at the time for R.J. Reynolds. Well, he wouldn't have been there very often, but I asked the manager, and she said, well, that'd be fine, and she knew about the letter from the FBI, ongoing investigation, national security involved. I thought, how's that? I didn't know about my real name. I thought it was because the mind control murders and Emory University, CDC was mentioned in the book, MD: A License to Kill, which wasn't published. I wonder, that's one of the points in doing this book, though. I wonder how many people have copies, if there's any left. And I've been asked that from the YouTubes that I've put up and Facebook. There are a few people who have contacted me and asked me who still has copies. Well, a copy would be with, or if she didn't destroy it, Twyla Joyce Pellin Childers. She married my ex-husband when he had lured me, he and his sister, after the letter from the FBI trying to get the book published, and lured out to Texas. Supposedly she was going to let me live with her a couple of weeks, help me find a job, to get my kids out of Atlanta, and hopefully that would help. I didn't know about being kidnapped. I got out there and to Dallas, and I was told to turn around and go back in no uncertain terms by her. So it was lured out. I got back my apartment. They allowed him to put it in his name, my ex-husband, moved my furniture. In other words, they gave him an apartment and let him use my money, and the lease was in his name, and I didn't have one. They wouldn't give me a key when I got back. My apartment was gone and my kids, and I had antifreeze put in me. So this woman, I found out later when I was illegally taken across the state line and ended up in the condition I was in. I should have died working for Fred Simpson, the DA, in 1980, Huntsville. Anything I've said can be checked out. Now then, my divorce had an addendum, and it said that anything my ex-husband ever had would be half mine, even if he remarried. Well, I don't know that he had anything, except he was supposed to leave me a $100,000 life insurance policy. I have been put on the side of the road, made to beg, go to social services and beg for food, a place to live, jobs that were blocked. And then I found that he was married to this woman, and she was living there when I did at Laurelwood and had the antifreeze put in me. They took my apartment, and I ended up with that woman, mother of the twins, that I had to call mother in Huntsville. And I worked for the DA, and she was forever trying to, well, anyway, kill me again, because the book would expose her, and she would have faced the death penalty. And my real name. So I wanted to list where the book copies may have been if they aren't destroyed. Pelham, this woman, new wife, Joyce, Twyla Joyce, she lives in Rutherford. I just found out the other day. You could Google it. She had all my pictures, my baby pictures, everything, and they're destroyed. I had none. She would have had a copy of the books. There were a couple of copies there at my home that she took over at Laurelwood. I had a copy that logged in with a letter from the FBI to under Reagan. His adopted son logged it in. It was on the logbook, a copy of the book and a letter from the FBI. And then I'm going to go to who else would have a copy. Lionel Dempsey had a copy, and I wanted to get this in real quick. This is the woman that kidnapped, helped do all this to me, killed her twins. She had a copy, so she died in 92. Now then, her attorney that helped try to kill me is how they did. They used the mental health system. I had antifreeze put in me. My ex-husband got me. Isn't that weird? Got me the copies. They wouldn't give it to me where it was antifreeze put in me. But anyway, she told me her attorney, who was an ex-judge, McCoy, had a copy of my divorce. Now, let me remind you, all this is happening. It's hard to work when you've had antifreeze and you should have died. I'm working for the DA. I knew some of the judges. She's got this ex-judge that she said was going to have me put away.